Salutations everyone, today we're going to be talking about Overwatch Esports, the competitive scene, and specifically the Overwatch League, and whether or not it's the future of esports, because it was quite the risk, quite the gamble to do what they did, to have this huge buy-in for buying a team in a city. And now we have all the teams, we have the divisions, and the preseason is just going to be starting up next month. Now, when it comes to esports, obviously the way that they are constructed is very reliant on what kind of game it is. For instance, a fighting game is fairly simple. It's one person versus one person playing on one or two television sets with their controllers or their joysticks plugged in, and they fight through a bracket, and then you have a winner at the end. Very simple. But when it comes to team games, which is by no means a new thing, StarCraft was a huge esport in South Korea for many, many years before, you know, MOBAs were even a thing, or Overwatch was in its conception at all. But the way that team sports have worked as a spectator esport is kind of wonky. It's a little messy. I remember back in 09, 2010 area, where Call of Duty was the big thing. It was, you know, best-selling game in the world. It's what I started my channel on and what I did for the first couple of years. And as far as esports wise, it was kind of one of the bigger things in the West at the very least. And yes, that has kind of dwindled with, you know, all the MOBAs and the CSGOs and the Overwatches, but is still a thing. But I remember at the time it was the big thing, and you had the Optic team and the FaZe team and blah 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 blah. But people weren't really into the esports scene. Obviously there was always going to be people that supported it, but it wasn't as big as it could have been for Call of Duty being the biggest game in the world. You would think for the biggest game in the world, its competitive scene would be be given a little bit more love, have more people watch it than how many people were at the time, because you had all these teams, but like you had people that were also just part of the brands. They were like the montage makers and people on the YouTubes, and then you had people that were doing the scrims and doing the tournaments. And you had so many people changing teams because there was drama and, oh, coach is this, and they would switch to this team and they switched to that team, to where like nobody really cared about the teams. Nobody cared about the competitive Call of Duty teams. They cared about their favorite player or their favorite brand, you know, whatever that may be. But no one really cared about the teams, and the way that it was structured didn't really give anybody an incentive to care about the team because they were always changing. And I remember many people asking for a change in how the esport of COD was done, and that, oh, it should be like based on, you know, city-based teams like, you know, any other sport, where you would have the Dallas this, the LA this, the New York that, Chicago whatever. And that was a nice idea, but obviously, you know, it's just some people on YouTube spouting out things, and the people with the money are going to do what they do. And obviously money is the incentive here. Money is what's going to drive it. Every sport is a business, and it's about making money, no matter what it may be. And all your competitors out there, yes, you're going to have fun, get better at the game, have friendships, blah, blah, blah. But if you're going to be the best in the world, you're not going to do it for free, and you're going to want to make money. And if you really love this game, then, you know, do what you love. You don't ever work a day in your life, right? But these people work really hard, and even now, some big esports that get tens of thousands of views, those people still struggle, but Overwatch League seems to fix all of these problems. They are going to be city-based. We have all the teams now. We have the Atlantic Division, the Boston Uprising, Florida Mayhem, Houston Outlaws, London Spitfire, New York Excelsior, Philadelphia Fusion, and then we have the Pacific Division, which is the Dallas Fuel, Los Angeles Gladiators, Los Angeles Valiant, San Francisco Shock, Seoul Dynasty, Shanghai Dragons. And any given season, each team will play 20 matches within their division and 20 outside of it for a total of a 40-game season. The top team in each division will be the 1 seed, get a bye week. And the other postseason roster will include the top 4 teams in the entire league according to the record, regardless of their divisions. We don't have any like basketball or hockey things where we have shitty teams with losing records make it into the playoffs. So we're always going to have the best teams making it in, and that'll give us the best Overwatch that we can hope for. And there's going to be a lot of money on the line. The inaugural championship trophy and a $1 million prize. You're going to have pop bonuses for how you place in the regular season as well as where you place in the playoffs. There's going to be a lot of money involved, and that is going to fix a lot of problems. And the players are going to get paid. When have you ever heard of that? The players are going to get paid. Base salary, $50,000, and health insurance. This is such a huge boon from the player side of things, where so many people are running into like hand injuries, or they get sick or something and then they get replaced, or they have to stream in order to make some money on the side, or have another job, or working through school so they can get a job afterwards. The players are gonna get paid, and that's gonna give us the best possible play that we could ever hope for, because they're gonna get taken care of. People that have already been treating these games as a job, it's going to be like their official job, where finally this is a step forward to what we've had in Korea for so long, where it's viewed as a legitimate job and a legitimate career, and those people over there are treated like rock stars. Yes, they do burn out and they aren't treated amazingly, and they're only going to be in the limelight for a couple of years, and they're going to ruin their hands, and their careers aren't going to last very long because of hand-eye coordination and things like that. But here they're going to get paid for their work, and and that $50K is the base salary. The stars are going to be making the money that they've earned, that they deserve, and they're not going to rely on sponsorship deals. The teams are going to be sponsored like any other team out there from any other sport. And you have some people complaining like how this is dumb. The people in Dallas aren't going to be from Dallas, so what's the point? I'll tell you what the point is. It's being like every other sport ever. You think Dirk Nowitzki is from Dallas? You think Mason Crosby is from Pittsburgh? You think Clayton Kershaw is from Los Angeles? No. It's like how every other sport is going to be, and it's worked out for them for the past couple centuries. So Overwatch taking a page from your other athletic sports out there is a very good step. There is precedent for it. Everything's established. You have the sponsors, you have the teams, you have the players, they're getting paid, they're getting taken care of, and that's going to give us more of the quality Overwatch that we all saw at the World Cup, where a lot of people saw competitive Overwatch for the first time. And it was super competitive compared to last year, where South Korea just blew past everyone. Team USA almost beat Korea. It was the closest anybody got. It was in the quarterfinal. They were tied 1-1. We went to Hanamura, and they just went all the way to the distance and tied. USA could have taken that. They could have taken Eichenwald on that final push that they had in the throne room. So they get insanely close, closer than any other team has ever gotten. And even in the final, Canada put up a fight, and they took a map in a tournament where people didn't think that South Korea would lose a single map, maybe one. And guess what? They lost a few throughout that tournament. Thanks in part to Team USA and Team Canada out there. And Team Canada was just so fast, and you had XQC with the Winston getting the MVP. You had so many huge plays. We got to see Flower go on the Widowmaker and just own the stream. He was just killing it. He was just ruling everything. And you had like Jake go with the Junkrat and blow away that Hanamura, that legendary Hanamura defense from Team Korea. And it was crazy, and it was fun, and everyone got so hyped, so hyped. It was the most hype that we've ever seen an Overwatch tournament get. There was a lot on the line. There was pride. It was BlizzCon. People were hyped about Moira, and then they got to stick around and watch a sweet-ass tournament, and it all worked well for pretty much everybody involved. And it still ended the way we all expected it to. South Korea still won, and it wasn't a super nail biter, especially in the championship. against Canada, but everyone put up a great fight, and it was a great spectator sport. There's the changes that Blizzard has made to the spectating of Overwatch. We had those team colored jerseys for the World Cup, and obviously we're going to have that for the Overwatch League as well, where we have a much better idea of who's doing what, who's where, what's working out. You get to click on the kill feed to get those highlights so we can get the highest production quality streams of these tournaments as possible. And it's just going to get better. It's just going to get better. And it was trending on Twitter. It was a huge success. And I think is just a taste of what we're going to get in the Overwatch League. It's going to be, you know, city-based. So yes, you are going to have people who's like, I'm going to root for my city. You're also going to have those people like, I'm going to root for my favorite player, no matter where they ended up, whatever team or city they ended up playing. And you're gonna have those people that they just love the sport and they'll just watch everything. And there's gonna be a 40-season game, unlike, you know, a lot of esports nowadays, and, you know, including Overwatch or, you know, fighting games or MOBA games where there's a tournament every other week or every other month. Here we're gonna have a nice long season, and we're gonna have a championship. It's gonna be more meaningful. There's $1 million on the line. It's much easier to follow in how it's structured. It's not going to be, you know, an invitational or this tournament's an S tier, this tournament's an A tier, this tournament's a B tier. It's going to be like any other sport, and I think everybody can easily follow that, and it's going to be much more meaningful, much more impactful. And the Overwatch League making these steps, which is a first. No other esport has attempted this city-based, you know, league thing before. It's always kind of been a mosh posh of the different things among team sports, you know, different across games, different across different kinds of tournaments. And here it's just going to be one solid Overwatch League, and it's just to be like any other sport, which is, I think, such a good thing for it. Merchandising, I think, is going to be handled a lot well. You know, you're going to have, you know, your team Envious, which is, you know, basically the Dallas Fuel. But, you know, you're going to also have a mishmash of a bunch of other players from different teams and different places. And so you're going to have people repping their Seoul Dynasty jerseys much more than you had people repping, you know, maybe Misfits jerseys, you know, over the past couple of months, because it's going to be a city-based. They're going to have those sweet colors. You're going to have a static team. You're also going to have your alternates out there, obviously. So, you know, there's going to be much more strategy involved. It's going to be more competitive because, like, the talent is kind of like spread throughout. It's no longer just going to be, you know, how easily is Lunatic High going to win this one. It's going to be like any other sport where the talent is spread out. Some teams, obviously, yes, are going to be better than others. But it's all about entertainment. You know, it's all about be the money, and the players getting taken care of. And I think the fans are going to be taken care of with this new structure that was very ambitious with this huge team buy-in, but we had these huge corporations and families buying in because they read the writing on the wall. They saw the future. They see the money in esports, and guess what? It's just going to get bigger. And, you know, sooner or later, America is going to be, it'll never be on par with how South Korea is with their esports, but it's going to be more legitimized. We're seeing Smash Brothers on ESPN. We're seeing Street Fighter on ESPN. We're seeing, you know, Heroes of the Storm on that Disney XD channel or whatever it is called now. And so it's becoming a bigger part of the culture. And I think this Overwatch League is a big step forward for all people involved. And it may be how things are handled from now on if this is a success. And right now, there's not many reasons to think that it won't be.